welcome everyone to the Amplified Mind. I'm Kerry Pope. Listen, this subject I'm getting ready to teach you is caused so much controversy in churches that a lot of people stay away from it. But we're going to hit it head on. Now listen, this is not going to be a sex 101 class, but I am going to deal with the sexual nature of the word intimacy. I'm going to take sex and break it down to its purest form. And then we're going to look at the title, Unprotected Sex, remove sex, replace it with intimacy, and look at it from a different perspective, unprotected intimacy. Now, I promise you, this word is going to bless you. It's going to open your mind to a whole nother level of the word intimacy and what it means to be intimate with God or any other relationship that you may be in. Sounds like something you're interested in? Well, come on, let's go now and look at unprotected sex, the Amplified Mind. So some of you may know what that is. People say, hey, safe sex. Now, the reason why they say to take safe sex and do this is because you don't know if a person is carrying something. So a lot of times you meet someone that looks good, they look to be healthy, but they're a carrier. Here in Atlanta, they've considered Atlanta to be epidemic as far as HIV. So that means they said that it's almost compared to a third world country. And that's scary because that means just about every fourth to sixth person that you see is going to be a carrier of HIV in Atlanta. That means that many of you have probably met someone or been with someone that may be a candidate. But you say, if I protect myself, I'm good. Well, hang in there with me. Unprotected sex, it involves not having something in place to block or to protect you from pregnancy or disease. So to have unprotected sex means that basically you don't do anything but just go for the moment. You just get it going. And so for that reason, here you are. That's right, carriers, baby. There's a bunch of carriers, guys. And what's sad part about it is they look like me. They look like you. They're healthy, but they're carriers. And even though you may say, well, I'm going to protect myself, you're still not protecting yourself. Are you enjoying this so far? So unprotected sex involves you not doing anything, just having sex. But let's go deeper. So let's look at the word sex. Sex is a physical act as a result of mental stimulation called intimacy. Okay? Now let's break that down. Sex. So when I say unprotected sex, we know that unprotection means you're not putting anything on to protect yourself from a disease or pregnancy. But then the word sex itself is a physical act as a result of mental stimulation called intimacy. This is where many people are not practicing safe sex. They're not practicing it mentally. Because they're thinking if they put something on, it's going to block them from a man disease or a sexual disease, but they're not blocking the mental disease that tears them down, that causes them to second guess themselves or feel like a second-class citizen because they're not good enough because somebody didn't warn them about unprotected sex. Intimacy is a process. Whoa, wait a minute. Intimacy is not a quickie. Intimacy, you got to put your time in. Meaning you got to get to know the person. You got to slow it down and light a candle and turn off the lights like Teddy said. You got to spend some time with the person to become intimate with the person. Do you hear me tonight? And so you don't meet someone today and then 2 minutes later you're in bed with them, because if you're doing that, then that says that you don't understand intimacy. So you just having sex. So here's the problem. If you don't understand what intimacy is, then you cannot understand what it means then to be intimate. Wow. So intimacy is a process. Are you with me tonight? That's right. Patience. Intimacy is a process. It takes place over time. Listen now, and it is not stagnant. Intimacy takes place over time, and it's not stagnant. So, What does that mean, not stagnant? Well, in fact, any kind of stagnation in this relationship kills the intimacy. Now, intimacy is important in a relationship because it's not physical. Physical happens later. It starts mentally. So a lot of people are having sex in their mind before they they're having intimacy in their mind before they have physical connection in their body. We have taken sex to understand it as just a man and a woman coming together and having physical activities. But it's not that. It's deeper than that. Intimacy is something that's developed over time. The bedroom is only what happens when you finish your intimacy and now you take it to another level. There's 4 levels I'm going to talk about tonight of intimacy, and most of us are always going straight to number 4 and we never build 1, 2, 3. Intimacy is what we call the experience of really knowing and being known by another person. Okay? You want to write that down tonight. Intimacy is what we call experience of really knowing. Oh my God. Really knowing and being known by another person. See, you can't have intimacy by yourself. Intimacy is I know you, you know me, and we together form intimacy. I didn't try to make that rhyme, guys. It just flowed like that. I did try to make it rhyme. But intimacy is when you take the time to get to know each other, not to have sex, but to know each other. You can have unprotected intellectual stimulation with someone that can destroy you, because to get to know me, I got to open myself up to you. Come on. Do you hear me tonight? For me to get to know you, I got to take a chance to be intimate with you and pull back some sides of my life that you're going to see and get to know, that you may say, I can't do this, man. I'm done. But that's me taking a chance. One of the things my wife does, she was a matchmaker. And when she would match people up, first thing she would always preach to everybody is, take your time. Don't rush. Don't rush. And even myself, I was rushing because I was told you're a preacher and you're not supposed to be out here uncovered and you need a wife and na. So in the name of God, I was rushing. I was rushing myself to an early grave. See, being intimate is the process of really experiencing and knowing someone. Okay? And it leaves you vulnerable. I don't know who I'm talking to tonight, but if you refuse to be vulnerable, then you refuse to experience true intimacy. Because the person that you've been intimate with is going to allow themselves to be vulnerable, and then both of you are given sides of you that you're not afraid to share. But if you have been hurt in the process of developing intimacy, then there is a notch in your life. And what happens is when you feel yourself opening up to someone, you get reminded of what you went through and you shut down because you start to feel the fear of hurt. So notice how I broke that thing down from sex to intimacy, because we have been corrupted to understand that intimacy is sex. No, intimacy is not sex. Intimacy is a relationship that you're forming that takes you to a bond. And that bond, if you're in a married relationship, and some do it unmarried, leads you to sex. Okay? That's why it's so important. Because if I'm not having sex with God, but I am intimate with him. You didn't see that coming, did you? See, I'm having protective intimacy with God because I made sure that I know him and he knows me, so I can unravel who I am, and I know he's not going to judge me because I'm protected. But when you have unprotected intimacy, guess what that means? That means you have no boundaries. That means you have no protection. And that means you're open to vulnerability. Listen, the Bible lets us know clearly, don't cast your pearls among swine. Your pearls is your intimacy. The intimacy of who you are cannot be cast among swine, for they'll tread upon it and then rip it in turn and rip you to pieces. That's somebody who does not know how to give what they're getting. Many of you are in relationships, friendships, family with people who don't have a clue what it means to be intimate because they're so used to being the user or the receiver. Oh, my. You're with me tonight. So you have to know that if I'm going to be intimate, the person I'm being intimate with has to be intimate back to me. It's not a one-way situation. It's a two-way. I give and you give back. If you can't give it back, we can't be intimate. Oh, somebody ought to give God some praise right there. If you are being intimate with someone and they are not being, they're being stagnant, or they're dull, or they're sluggish, or they're not giving back to you, you got to cut it. So trust is the heart of intimacy. The reason why we give God our butt naked truth is because we can be open and honest with him, because we trust him. He don't tell our secrets to somebody else. He doesn't expose our weaknesses. He doesn't take what I've done in the dark and expose it to the light. God keeps me covered because we're intimate. He knows how much I mean to him, but also I know how much he means to me. Come on, somebody. So trust is the heart of intimacy. Some of you have friends right now that you don't quite trust. That's not an intimate relationship. And we got to understand that intimacy is not just about being in a love relationship. Intimacy is about knowing you, trusting you, and giving myself to you, whether it's in a relationship, whether it's in a friendship, whether it's on a job, whatever it may be. That's what it means. The more we trust, the closer we get to them, but also the closer we allow you to get to me. Some of you right now do not trust. You've been hurt so bad. You hurt so bad to the point where now you got this wall up. And that wall that you have up keeps you from experiencing intimacy simply because you refuse to be hurt again. See, if you're going to be in a relationship of any sort, there is a 50-50 chance that you're going to get hurt. There's a 50-50 chance that the person you open yourself up to can take you out. But that's why you got to have protective intimacy. You got to know who's in your corner. You got to know who's in your life and know that person by spending time with that person. And the first time they start showing you another side of themselves is the time you got to check out. Because when a person continues to show you another side of them and it's not fitting to where you are, they're not being intimate as you're being intimate. They're not being loyal as you're being loyal. They're not as committed as you are committed. It's time to cut it.